guys.
All right.
Hey, guys. So, welcome everybody. Right on the dot. We're going live again. There we go.
Let's do this.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
welcome to
All right.
another Facebook Live from our Facebook group. My name is Tom Bibi Varghese. I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm so privileged to be part of this group with Noel and Jonny. Both of them super successful dentists. Noel's not going to be here today. He's actually out at a real estate conference getting his education in and meeting and networking people. So he will be back next week. So next 2 weeks from now. So excited, guys. Today is going to be an amazing topic that everybody loves to know what markets to invest in and why choosing the right market to invest in is super important when you invest in real estate, right? So that's going to be a topic. And I want to turn it over to Jonny. Jonny, why don't you go ahead and do your introduction and then we'll dive right into the topic.
Sure. Thank you, Thomas. I appreciate it so much. I'm Dr. Jonny Withanachchi, or Dr. Jonny Walker. And, we're here. I've been investing I'm an endodontist, full-time endodontist. I have a family, full-time family member, husband, children, all that. I've been very successful in real estate investing. In 2019, I'm the principal and founder of a company called Walk of Wealth, which has invested in over 690 apartment units, and over close to $94 million of transactional volume. Today, we're going to be talking about markets and why why choosing now. As a passive investor, right? This group is about passive investing. So when you're an active investor, you have to invest in your own, wherever you can drive to, right? So you have to be you're limited to where you can invest. But as a passive investor, we have the incredible advantage of being able to choose which city we invest in, which state we invest in, even which country we invest in. So we have a lot more options, right? So how do we go about choosing within this country? How do we go about choosing which is the best place to invest?
Right.
Right.
So here's the thing, right? The saying in real estate, like whenever you go to buy your realtor store, your location, location, location. Everybody knows that, right? Now, when it comes to multifamily or commercial real estate investment, yeah, that definitely applies. Location is important. Now we are going to take a 30,000-foot view and see. Let's start with the country as a whole, right? Now we're not talking about your backyard, Main Street, although that's important. But we're going to talk about the country. We'll look at the country as a whole and see what markets are hot today. Why? First thing is you need to know why investing in the right market is super important. You could invest in a great property in the wrong market and you may lose your money, right? So, but at the same time, if you invest in an okay property in a great market, you will make money because all was that rising tide lifts all boats kind of analogy, right? So this is why picking the right market is super important when it comes to investing in real estate. We are going to go over some factors on how to pick the markets. What are some of the factors you got to be looking for, and how to find some of those markets and where people are investing today and where we as a team are investing today. By the way, I'm so excited to announce that I also just added to my portfolio another 400 plus units, assets under management yesterday. So we had a storage unit deal, another deal that we'll talk about that a little bit. But so excited about this journey, guys. So yeah, Jonny, let's talk about why. What are some
Yes.
of what are
Sure.
some of
Yeah.
the
No, I wanted to add also to what you're saying. So, there's three types of markets. There's the declining market. You have a stagnant market, and you have a growth market. So in a stagnant market, rents aren't going anywhere. They're not moving. Occupancy isn't changing. And there's little job growth or meaningful population growth. in these type of markets, there's people that are still successful, but it takes a lot more effort, right? Then there's declining markets. You have markets where rents are declining, vacancy rates are increasing. You have negative population growth, right? You have more people moving away than moving in. And it could be declining wages, lack of jobs, or companies or major employers that have left the area. And it takes even more effort and difficulty to be successful when you're investing in a declining market. Now, as Tom alluded to, now when you invest in an emerging market or a growth market where jobs are expanding, incomes are going up, right? People are moving in, not away. When you're in markets like that, you see high rent growth, high occupancy rates, and it takes a lot less effort to be successful because, like I said, a rising tide raises all ships. So when you're in a market where there's a lot of people moving and competing for scarce resources, it takes a lot less effort to make money because rents will go up naturally as a result of supply and demand. So local market. So when somebody comes and asks you a question like, hey, when somebody comes and asks me, hey, how's the commercial real estate? How's multifamily real estate, doing? There's no such thing as how's multifamily doing in general because location matters in these investment. This is this very local investment. Even in the throes of recession, like when the COVID, when people stopped paying rents, people were not moving, there was nothing happening, rents were going down, landlords were accepting less. Did you know that there was still markets where rents went up during a pandemic, during a global pandemic? The market I'm even talking about right now, East Orange, New Jersey, which is a sub-market close to Manhattan and New York City. When everybody was leaving Manhattan, New York in droves trying to get out of the city, places they were going was this East Orange, New Jersey. And during the throes of these guys, New Yorkers are coming to this sub-market. All of a sudden, there's all these people moving there and rents went up during a pandemic. So the location matters big time when it comes down to this. Very local markets, local market factors matter big time.
Right.
Okay. So now when we look at it from the top down, right? We're looking at it from the big picture. We look at the country as a whole. We look at which areas are people going. The big three indicators to look for in a market. Number one, job growth.
Job growth.
Right? Is there jobs
yeah.
going there? If there's jobs going there. And then number two, income growth. Not only are the jobs going there, are the people making the jobs that are going, are they very low income where they don't have enough money to even afford the rents? Or are they white collar jobs? What kind of job, what kind of income growth is happening? And number three, population growth. So now usually when there's a lot of jobs, that's when people follow the jobs. And those are the three big indicators. There's several other ones. I mean, Tom, you can notice.
Yeah, and then one thing also, Jonny, is that people don't pay attention to now. Weather is also a factor, especially with people having the freedom today to live and work from anywhere because of the work from home boom after COVID. People are moving simply because they don't want to be in cold weather anymore. Like I had a friend who's a very successful attorney in Chicago. And all his clients are local, like these big restaurants, big grocery stores. And one day, somebody told me, man, he's this guy, this lawyer. He moved. I said, no, it can't be that guy. He said he moved to Florida. I said, there's no way he can move because all his clients are here, local. And I called him, and he said, yeah, man, Tom, I had to make the move because you know what, man, I was thinking when I'm 55, I don't want to be in a cold place, so I made the move. So people move for different reasons, like job growth, migration, population going, weather, so many other factors. So it's super important that we pick the right state, the right city, the right location to invest in a property. Let's talk about some of the some of the states that are pretty hot right now in terms of that fits all this, that checks all the boxes.
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
One thing, one thing you got to understand about real estate, commercial real estate in general. I like to use the analogy, something that moves fast, moves quick, right? It's like a jet ski going fast. It moves through you. That's like the stocks. It's a very efficient market. Things can move within days. People's positions can change by multiples. Real estate, on the other hand, moves more like a barge. It's much more slow moving. The trend is your friend. It's very easy to see paths of development in real estate. Where is a city is naturally growing? Which areas of the city are growing? You can see where the government has put resources. And so it's very easy to see, and you can see it from far away. Far away. Now, if you look at America, where the people are moving, there's a great migration in the United States that's been happening over the last 10 or 15 years. And it was accelerated about tenfold by the pandemic to the Southeast and Southwestern states, right? So there's a great migration to the Sun Belt and away from the left and right coasts, right? Yeah. So that's when people are moving out of California and they're moving to these Southeast, Southwestern states. A better climate, lower cost of living, more business-friendly states. There's a lot of reasons that people are going there, but a lot of it is high jobs, lower cost of living, great climate.
That's right. One thing also that we wanted to mention is we want to look for landlord-friendly states. Some of the states have become so tenant-friendly. It's not even tenant-friendly. I should use the word.
New York and California. They're the most tenant-friendly states.
Like California, Illinois, New York.
Nobody wants to invest in New York and California. It's a different animal.
People can live rent-free for
years,
for half a year, like years. Yeah, we don't want to invest in those places, So that's critical as well when we look for properties, right? So yeah, so some of those states, like Sun Belt states, like southern states, like Florida, Tennessee, Texas, those are hot. Like there is other markets around those that's super hot right now and coming up as well. North Carolina, Georgia, those kind of areas, right? Right, Jonny, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you nail. If you go by the population growth last year, and actually my guy here, the Don, says, what are your thoughts on investment property in Orlando, Florida? I'm going to touch on that right now. Number one growth state in the country last year was Texas. 300,000 people moved to Texas.
Right.
200,000 people moved to Florida. Interestingly, both of those states have no state income taxes. On both Republican states, both landlord-friendly states. Georgia had 100,000 people move to Georgia. 100,000 people moved to Arizona. 80,000 people moved to North Carolina, as you mentioned, Tom. 60,000 people moved to South Carolina. The population that's going to these areas is expanding. Like, hey, Orlando's a great area. Tampa is booming. That's Florida. I mean, there's so many parts of Florida. Texas, top 5 growth states and cities in Texas. Dallas, Fort Worth, number 1. Number 2, Houston. Number 3, Austin. Number 4, San Antonio. We love these states. Even if you go across the Southeast, we love Birmingham, Alabama. We love there's parts of Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
That we love. Colorado's been blowing up. Arizona, Phoenix has been the fastest growing city in the United States for like 5 years in a row.
Now, Jonny, I wanted to stop you right there. So you said some of the bigger states, like these are popular major states like Arizona, Texas, Florida. I mean, and then you also mentioned a couple other states that are coming up that are in the up and coming list, like Alabama, like Kentucky, like Mississippi, right? I mean, these are states that nobody
more tertiary markets.
10 years ago, nobody would have said, "Man, I don't want it." But talk about what's going on right now in those states,
so multifamily got so hot that everybody was investing in 2000, especially 2020, 21. And then even tertiary markets start to heat up like crazy. Nashville, places like Birmingham, places like Reno, places like Tucson, Arizona. Why these areas? Well, what happens is that secondary markets close to primary markets where you have major growth, and a lot of times people get priced out, they go to secondary markets close to big primary markets. So, for example, Denver blew up so fast, people got priced out. And guess what? Markets around Denver, Colorado Springs, had high amounts of growth and are expected to have high amounts of growth even during a recession as people look for more affordable housing. And then you look at Las Vegas. We're going to see places like Las Vegas, Phoenix, Denver slow down a little bit. They had such high rent growth so fast, it probably overshot even the true value. And now, as a result, you're seeing these secondary markets close to that. So Las Vegas, we're seeing Reno have lots of growth. And then when we're talking about Atlanta, we're talking about Birmingham. And as a result, Birmingham, okay, so Birmingham, we've invested heavily in Birmingham. Even Tom, you and I, we've done deals in Birmingham together. And
yeah, that's one of the deals that I was talking about.
And I'm going to tell you, why Birmingham though, right? Why did we love I love Birmingham for many reasons. And all the stuff we spoke about today, everything we spoke about today, we can talk about Birmingham. First of all, it's a secondary market near Atlanta. It's a straight shot down I-183, right? It's a secondary market close to a primary market. Atlanta has been booming. The rents in Atlanta went up 27% in 2021, right? So now that natural spillover has happened to Birmingham, but Birmingham has been outpacing the rest of the population, the country's population growth for many years. It has a very diverse labor market, right? There's a lot of
employers. And it's a good time to get in because it's still cheap. I mean, we want to get in. I mean, don't you wish? I mean, everybody who's listening, don't you wish you got into the Dallas market about 15 years ago? Think about what the property would be worth today. If we had a property that we purchased at $2 million, today it could be probably about $5 million if we purchased it 15 years ago. We want to get in these tertiary markets right now because they are going to go the way Dallas, Houston, Orlando, Miami, all these places have been, because we can still get in at cheap, and they've got all these factors that Jonny said, like population growth, cheap cost of living, jobs are going there. Some of the major employers, when we were studying the Alabama market for that property, when we were doing the research, I mean, some of the major employers are in that town.
It's finance. There's a lot of banking industry. It's a banking.
They're going center because it's cheap labor too there. So that market is going to explode. I mean, that whole.
You know, to add to your point there, Tom, there's five. Area. Yeah, there's 5 major employers that have 4,500 employees or more in Birmingham. The University of Alabama has 23,000 employees. And that's a young university. It's a progressive university that continues to grow and expand. It's a college town, you know, so it's has a lot of major employers for such a small city. You know, has all the factors that we're looking for: job growth, income growth, and population growth. If you look at the population growth, it's been booming in Birmingham. So Birmingham's another example of a city that is, you know, that is a great market that hits all the right things. You know, I mean, there's a lot of great markets still out there. Even during times like this, people, as long as you get into a place where
Huntsville, Alabama is another great market, right? It's also in Alabama. Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, I mean, Mobile, you know, I mean,
all these places.
Yeah, I mean,
several markets, guys, that's on the up and coming, and we want to get in the right. It doesn't mean but we want to stay away from landlord unfriendly places where people are leaving the state, like Illinois, for example. I moved from Illinois to Texas 2 months ago to Houston. People are leaving Illinois because of several reasons: weather, landlord unfriendly taxes, crime, all these things.
Chirac, man, Chirac. Everybody's getting killed in Chicago. But
guys. So picking the right market. So these are the things that you got to look for when you pick the right market. And if you have any questions when you're looking into any tertiary and secondary market, just simply reach out to us. Reach out to Jonny, myself, and Noel. We'd be happy to take a look and send you some stats if you want to. So definitely keep that in mind when you're looking for that. Is it time to take some questions now, Johnny?
Yeah,
I see
yeah, we got a lot of questions.
coming in.
Let's get into some questions here, man. Let's
Yeah.
so here the first question is let's hold on, let me take out this chat overlay thing here. Hold on. Bleep bleep. Whoop. All right. It says here, how involved do you guys get with asset management and operational side of the investment? And this is from our friend Rupinder Singh from YouTube. Well, I mean, on our side, Walk of Wealth, I mean, we are involved in the capital raising efforts as well as on asset management side. So what, in terms of the operations, the asset manager is basically management of the operations
Of the property management company. I think that's what he wants to know.
Right, and
basically.
construction, right? So we're looking at what's key performance indicators and what's happening at the property level in terms of several key indicators, you know, in terms of rent, in terms of leases, people that moved in, new leases, etc. So there's certain things that we're looking for trends.
If the toilet's not working, they're not calling us. If that's
right, that has nothing to do with it, right? So now, as a passive investor, you don't ever have to worry about any of this stuff. If you're completely, you know, if you're a passive investor, you're a limited partner in these syndication type deals, which is what we're talking about here, passive investing, then there's zero involved. In terms of what we do, it's because, you know, that's a service that we provide for our limited partners, essentially, our investors. Yeah, so now the next question, also from Rupinder Singh. What are your primary asset classes? Will you be sharing the geographic diversity of your portfolio? Tom, you want to talk about maybe about a little bit of
primary asset class. I don't know if he's asking about Class A, Class B, Class C, or is he talking about? So if I'll touch on both. So we buy.
I think multifamily or like self-storage,
multifamily, and also storage units. So those are the two things that I really like. A multifamily ain't going anywhere. People are still they need a place to live, and rents are going up because people can't afford to buy. They're going to go and rent. The rents are going to go up if you buy in the right places. Storage units, I mean, that's something that I recently started getting involved in.
Yeah, storage is great.
That's something I really love too. So those
storage is great. I mean, we invest. So our primary asset classes, we've been primarily multifamily real estate. We invest in, you know, when I'm talking about Walk of Wealth, we invest in Class C, Class up to B pluses. We like value add properties. We try to stay 1990 vintage or above, but you know, sometimes we do make exceptions to it. In terms of geographic diversity, we've invested all over the country. I started in northern New Jersey, where we had a lot of great success. We were talking, that's why I talked about East Orange earlier. But we're in Houston. We acquired a 300 unit property in Houston. We're in Birmingham. We're working on some stuff with, you know, even Tom here and Noel. So we've as passive investors, we have the ability to participate in any geographic location.
Exactly.
You know, so we have the luxury of choosing, hey, look, we don't need to work extra hard. We just need to make sure that we are in a place that the fundamentals alone are going to drive us up, right?
That's a great point, Johnny.
For the jobs, right?
Growth. Right, Johnny, that's a great point that you touched on that I think we should elaborate a little bit. So a lot of people, when you're looking to buy real estate, people have been told that, hey, you got to look at your backyard. You got to go and find something that's right. That's fine if you're going to manage it yourself, and that becomes a second job, okay, when you're going to buy a property. But with what Johnny is saying is that if you're going to passively invest, you're going to get great returns, almost same or even better in many cases. And you can invest in markets that are booming, that are going up. So you don't have to be restricted to a location, especially if you live in a landlord unfriendly place. You don't have to be locked into that state. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next one, my guy here, the Don. What are your thoughts on investment property in Orlando, Florida? Tom, what are your thoughts about Orlando?
Go for it. I love Orlando. I love Florida.
I think Orlando's great. Yeah. Yeah, it's a strong market. I mean, Florida is just all over. Florida has been,
Booming.
incredible. One thing I'd like to add about the markets discussion, you have to also keep in mind that we're looking at new construction. So if there's that is something also to consider, because if you're in a market where there's a lot of demand and there's just not enough places to live, you can also expect development to start, especially if it's a place that development can be done. And so the number of units coming online is also could be potential, competition towards your business plan, right? So, but in terms of Orlando, I think Orlando's great, man. It just depends on which submarket of Orlando and getting there. I still think there's room for growth, even though it's still like this now, because it's just a low cost of living in Florida. There's no state taxes. I mean, there's a lot of great reasons for Florida. This is also from the Don. Tom, you have some experience with some smaller multifamily, right? Like, unfortunately, duplexes and triplexes barely come up for sale in Orange and Lake County, Florida.
My question to the Don is, why are you just limited to duplexes and triplexes? You know why you can't find anything? Because there is so many mom and pops trying to buy this, and everything that comes in the market gets bought up by them. You need to move into a little bit higher, like maybe 30, 40 units, and go higher, so that there's mom and pops are not going to buy that, and the hedge funds don't need that either. So you're in the right spot in that if you go up, and it's not that hard to buy bigger units. So, or partner with somebody. That's the way to do it. Right, Johnny, you would agree?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's a different type. The Don, like, I mean, to my advice to you, like, if you can do a duplex and a triplex, there's no reason that you can't scale up from there.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you can get a 12 unit and live in one of the units, I think that's an incredible wealth hack. That's an incredible wealth hack, especially if you're getting started. Go live in one of the units.
The most important number in multifamily is the number of units.
You get the scale. You don't get any scalability with duplex and triplex. Is like, to get true scalability, you need to have at least 40 units, minimum. But definitely think a little bigger, man. I mean, and the capital's out there. So you don't be limited by, hey, I only got, I can't do it because I don't have enough capital. But the truth is, you line it up, you put the deal, you show the deal together, you put it together on paper, got a good pro forma. You go to some meetups, you'll get that thing funded, man. Like, it can be done.
So my first was 6 units, and I'll never buy anything that small ever again. So
talk about it. Talk about that. Why wouldn't you? I bet you can still make money with it, but it's a ton of work.
Make money, right? But it's a second job. You gotta, even though I have a guy on site taking care of everything, and I'm not even managing it. My wife does all the management. I mean, she manages the guy who runs everything.
Project management.
Project management. You got to have more units. Then you will see the beauty of multifamily. That's how it works.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like, honestly, if you do it and then the same effort that he took to do that 6 unit,
exactly,
it wouldn't take incrementally much more time to do a 30 unit.
Yeah.
Or 50 units. Because multifamily, the beauty is the scalability of multifamily real estate. Oh, no, we got the guy checked in from the airport, man. He's on the plane still. He's landed on the plane. He's still checked in on the live, guys. Oh, man, this guy, he made it, man. All right, man. Yeah, we're just wrapping up here. We're gonna get we're getting some questions in now. Oh, now we got Captain Humes. This is the actual captain from Delta Airlines. He just recently became one of the high-ranking captains. Wow, and he's very interested in multifamily real estate. And he says, the South has something to say. Can you explain landlord unfriendly? Well, he lives in Atlanta area, so he's very Atlanta friendly, I guess, pro Atlanta. But Tom, why don't you want to talk about what is landlord unfriendly, or maybe in a better, the opposite side of that is tenant friendly, landlord unfriendly or tenant friendly.
So landlord unfriendly is simply, how the laws have been changed in a way that landlords really lose out in a situation where a tenant doesn't want to pay rent. Then on top of that, so if they don't want to pay rent, you can't evict the tenant until it's like 5-6 months. Sometimes it could be a year. In COVID times, there were people living rent free for a whole year. That I had somebody who lived here for rent free. Okay, but we got the money and all that. But why? Because the laws were written like that. Secondly, they saddle you with taxes. All the landlords, they'll increase the taxes because they think you're making money, you pay more taxes. So guess what? When the taxes go up, you increase the rents. They don't understand that, or maybe they do, and they just play the game. So those are landlord unfriendly states. Basically, makes it difficult to do business.
Yeah.
California, New York. Then there's rent control.
California and New York are notoriously landlord unfriendly states, right? Like they're tenant friendly.
Illinois
you can't kick them out. They have too many rules and laws that protect tenants and from even non-paying. Tenants that purposely know the rule, they know the laws, and they'll purposely just live there rent free for 6, 8, 10 months, and then move out with no recourse. So it makes it very difficult to do business there and execute business plans in states like that. So that's why you don't see it's a whole nother beast for investors that invest in those type of places, Manhattan and things like that. It's a completely different animal. Next question here. My guy, Dr. Brian Craven from Massachusetts here. Do passive investors have to file taxes in states where the syndication is located? Tom?
No, you don't have to.
You get a K1, right?
You get a K1, and you don't have to.
So one disadvantage of investing in syndications, hold on, let me let Noel in, is that you might be required to file state tax returns and pay state income taxes in multiple states.
Yeah,
if the syndication, if it owns the property.
Wait. So I take that back. So mine was all negative K1s, so I didn't make an income. So
it didn't really impact you.
Yeah. So maybe Noel, can you answer that? The syndication. Yeah, we can hear you kind of, I think.
I think you have to. I think you're required to file.
Yeah, you gotta.
I think you're required to file in the state. Yeah, but that's still, there's still stuff done by accountants. What's that?
Hey guys, what's the question?
My guy Noel's walking through the airport, man. This guy's the fly boy, man. The fly boy.
Yeah. What's the question?
The question was, do passive investors have to file taxes in the state where syndication is located? We kind of answered that one already. Next one. Thank you, guys. I'll be contacting you when I find the right deal. Hey, man, this is where we got you. Listen, you find a good deal, even. You come to us, man. Listen, you got a good enough deal. We might partner with you. So but for real, let us know, man. So we're always down for reporting stuff here. Oh, my guy, Dr. Chad Zillich. Oh, I just had this is a pediatric dentist. My guy here he's in Western Michigan. We talked about that. That's excellent. You guys want a tip right here? A sleeper market to invest in is Western Michigan, Grand Rapids.
Beautiful.
You heard it here. Don't tell anybody I told you, man. That's sleeper market. Anyway, so we're looking at Chad Zillich said, what is the minimum amount of units you guys are looking for? When does it become competitive with large companies? Excellent question.
Love it.
for us, I mean, we try to stay at 150 units plus. Recently, we did a smaller deal to accommodate some of our small investors, but typically, and we had a pretty good sponsor we liked. But typically, we like to stick to 150 units plus. How about you, Tom? I mean, what's your criteria?
Yeah, I mean, the bigger the better.
Yeah,
So
more scale.
150, 100 plus is cool too. I mean,
Yeah.
but sometimes if the deal is good, we could do some like 40, 50. If
The numbers, if the numbers
deal,
right,
depends
right?
on
If the numbers right,
basically
yeah,
how much you
exactly.
want to make on it. But at least it's got to be like 40. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. When does it become competitive with large companies? Okay, so when we're talking about institutions, you're looking at 500 units plus, or highly stabilized properties, usually Class A. But having said that, if you take a property, usually with these multifamily investments, right? They're syndications, like what we're doing when we do value add. When we buy a property, say we buy a 300 unit property, we are going to renovate maybe 100 of those units, and then we by just only renovating 100 units, we can achieve our returns and produce profits and sell at a good enough profit. Now, the next guy that buys it, there's still meat on the bones. So next guy can buy it and there's still 200 units that's unrenovated. There's still room to improve profits. Once it gets to the point that all 300 units are completely improved and are achieving maximum gross potential rent for that market, now that is as a fully stabilized property. There's no longer opportunity to force appreciation and increase value that way. So no more value-add investors will buy that deal. The only ones that might buy a deal like that may be a smaller institutional company, like maybe a smaller hedge fund, smaller pension fund, or smaller company like that may buy a stabilized unit and they buy it for the cash flow. So to answer your story, we have no competition from large hedge fund between 100 and 300 units and 400 units.
And especially right now, an important thing to consider right now, right? Right now, none of the big companies, in fact, even medium up, nobody is buying because they are having more redemptions where people are asking for their money back. Like if they invested like 100K in a hedge fund, there's a term for that. I forgot that. There people are saying, hey man, you know why? Because the stock market went down. People are losing money. So they are asking, they are getting people calling them and saying, I know I invested the money in this fund. I'm taking my money back. So none of these guys are waiting on the sidelines right now. So no competition at all right now.
Yeah. I mean, big companies, Chad, are not buying 150 units between 150 and 300, 400. I mean, you see 1,000 units, 2,000 units, 10,000 unit places go sometimes with these huge institutions in high streets in main cities around the world. All right. So next one.
Noel, can
Does
you hear
Noel
us,
fly Delta? This is Captain Humes of Delta Airlines. Do you fly Delta Airlines?
Do you fly Delta? Can't hear
He's
you.
talking. He's muted. The Don, thank you, brother. Thank you for being here.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah, we heard you, man. Do you fly Delta Airlines?
I'm an American. And so, hey, just wanted to say something about the institute. When this market stabilizes a little bit, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of influx time. This is the right time to get in the deal because there's not a lot of but everything is factored in. But the institution, they're going to start coming in like they're going to flood the market.
All right, we're losing you, man. We're losing you, man.
Just keep going. Keep going.
Okay, yeah.
Keep going.
Thank you for the answers. Appreciate the insights, information. Thank you for being here. This is what we do it for. Thank you so much. Ryan Humes, Captain Humes, you all spoke about the dawn about partnering for a larger scale multifamily investment. When making those decisions, are there any guides or vetting process that you use before deciding to partner? Absolutely. You know, we say it tongue in cheek, but there's a very strict due diligence checklist that we do. This is beyond the scope of this. That's actually an excellent topic. We talked about how to which markets to choose in this call. In another one, we can talk about how to choose which people we partner with before deciding to partner. That's an excellent question. Thank you for that. The Don, can you show me how to analyze this? Just using this small duplex for an example. I think we would love to do that, but not on this call. We're about to get off. But you know what you do is leave me a message about the deal, and maybe we'll drop it in the Facebook group, and we'll break it down in the group and tell you our thoughts. What do you think?
We do this.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
We go ahead and do. Why don't we do a special?
Can't hear you, man.
Comments.
I think he needs to get off the.
Okay, yeah, he's gone.
The headset is causing the issue, I think.
All right, all right, Matt. Well, I want to thank everybody that was here today that joined us, right, Tom?
Awesome. Was an awesome topic today. Hope everybody got some value out of it. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. We check the comments, and one of us will answer it. So yeah, definitely keep those questions coming, guys. Have a great night. See you in 2 weeks. Right?
2 weeks. Yep. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.